too bad. I had a lot of really good stuff there. Maybe
well,
my best.
You can keep talking
my
about
best stuff about snail mail and music.
Well, you can keep talking about that. You said it was by Courtney Love.
So originally by Courtney Love.
Yeah.
And when I first heard that,
this is the second most beautiful girl in the world.
yes. For those of you just tuning in
Yeah.
to the beginning, to the beginning of this,
People
Who just started the podcast.
for those of you who play,
Yeah.
and you're wondering what we're talking about, which is a song we just performed last night.
Yes, that's true.
I don't think anyone could hear me, but that's okay.
I don't think anybody could hear anything.
Yeah.
The sound was bad.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun, very sweaty,
Yeah.
fun.
I think a show described as sweaty, any concert that you could put the adjective sweaty behind is probably better
I think
than the alternative.
it's always better when it's sweaty.
Yeah, well, I think when Jade picked my bass guitar up, she understood the true meaning. Did it affect you?
I didn't notice. I think I was
Okay.
very in my head at
because
that moment.
I was soaking.
I noticed it on Aiden.
It's crude, but
yeah.
the whole instrument was slick.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
I wish you could show in camera the bruise
How
that you
sweaty
got
we
on
are?
your.
Oh.
it's true.
On my string. On my
Shad, could you just
playing
show the
finger?
camera real fast
Yeah,
how
just
sweaty we are?
Wait, was that from last night?
Yeah, it is.
Damn.
I've been playing a lot lately too. I think I just I wasn't expecting to be playing so many eighth notes. I was
Yeah.
expecting to be playing bass guitar, not
Yeah.
rhythm guitar.
I was feeling it on Freaks, weirdly enough. The simplest song.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I haven't played in a while, but it was just
It's strange the ergonomics on that. Like
Yeah.
for second most beautiful girl in the world, the line is super simple for me. The dun dun dun
Yeah.
da 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 da.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the way that my hands were playing, the way that it's organized, like screaming, just on fire.
Yeah.
The entire time, and every time I practice it too, just a ton of pain. But anyway, you were saying Courtney Love.
Oh yes, it's
a controversial figure.
Controversial, and I remember
What?
finding
I don't
this
know what
out.
you're talking about.
Well, I remember finding this out and being like, "Really, that's kind of a good song, though." This is gonna draw me some
Yeah,
hate from
it's-
the
yeah.
the Courtney Love fan base.
What is the big hole
but-
song? What is the big hole song?
Are you talking
Oh.
about the band Hole? Or are
Yeah,
you talking
that's
Yeah.
her band.
Oh,
Yeah,
her
what's-
band's
her-
called Hole.
Yeah.
It's
All
her
right.
hole. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's
I mean, I know
It's
that's
supposed to be
probably the
crude.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the joke.
Yeah.
But, rip.
I don't know.
I actually had this happen to me in a much more embarrassing way the other day because I have for years thought this song that Tiger Jaw plays, which is this indie band that I'm sure from somewhere from the Midwest.
I
don't know.
only, for some reason, know their song "Spirit Desire." Do you know that
Okay,
song?
I think I've heard it,
Okay.
but it didn't stick out to me as much as Gypsy did. And I
Yeah.
heard that song and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I listened to the whole album and I was like, where the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is nothing like it. It's a Fleetwood Mac cover.
That happens a lot. Where
Yeah,
that
yeah.
happens. I think. Okay, I do like Iron and Wine, but most of what I listen to are their covers of other people's songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think folk covers often, I think just because of the more emotional tone, do a better job of communicating the lyrics.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe not the exact tone of the original intent, but
I-
the lyrics.
I did hear an
themselves.
insane. It's not really insane. I think just the genre was an insane choice. Oh, I'm blanking on the name of the artist, but he does this sort of really deep Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison. Those aren't comparable, really,
Yeah.
but that deep piano, somber,
Yeah.
belting song version of All the Small Things. And it was insane and kind of good. I don't know. It was fun.
I think
Actually-
like any song you can sing with, in a minor chord, right, or a minor key, and with piano behind it, you can make sad and emotional.
Yeah,
right?
it was like weirdly emotional. I was like, wow, she used to go to all your shows.
not anymore.
That sort of reminds me of this whole like weird cottage industry that I was reacquainted with when we were getting ready for the show because I thought it would be really cool for us to cover a Fleetwood Mac song. And
yeah.
the one that you put on the playlist, I wouldn't have picked Go Your Own Way for multiple reasons. It's a little complicated.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, it'd be really cool if we played The Chain. And I was looking up,
I think the chain on guitar is more complicated than, but I actually haven't.
I don't know, you need like, I don't know, you
Yeah,
need
yeah,
two
yeah.
guitarists.
We don't need to have this fight right
Yeah,
now.
we don't need. All right.
Come on, guys.
Jane
We're gonna bring our
versus-
drama on
yeah.
the pod.
Jane
Drama-free
versus Shad, all
Yeah.
right? But no, I found this. So you put Go Your Own Way on the playlist, and I was like, I wonder if anybody's ever done a punk or like an indie cover of Go Your Own Way. And I looked up punk covers, Go Your Own Way, and I discovered, oh crap, I forgot there's a cottage industry of bands that do really bad covers of other bands in a specific genre. And I think it's called like Punkocalypse
Yeah.
or something stupid like that. And they literally just it's every record is just them doing really bad pop covers of every song in existence.
Are you ever like sitting in a cafe or something and they've got this station on that's just really guitar folksy soft covers of any song imaginable?
Yes.
The newest, Olivia Rodrigo, whatever it is. And they're just like, let's do this, but for a coffee shop.
Yeah, well, there's a local coffee shop. We've talked about this on the show, actually, who, because of some new employees now plays just worship music with a rhythm, just like guitar.
Wait, which coffee
instrumental
shop is
worship
this?
music. It's Rough Draft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've said the name on the show before. But yeah, Rough Draft.
Woman of color owned
Yeah.
business.
Yes.
Come on, Chad. Freaking back off, dude.
I'm sorry.
You just said gypsy earlier.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's a song. Blame Nikki Sixx. She still performs it. Okay? She's untouchable, though, because she's an icon.
Yeah.
I got to say, though, this is a weird aside, but I watched their big live record they did in the 90s when Bill Clinton was president. And they did it because Bill Clinton's campaign song was a song off of Rumors. And so they had this like renaissance, and they did this live show, and then they sold all these live records from it. It's a good concert, but Nikki walking out, right? Actually, why am I saying Nikki Sixx? It's not Nikki Sixx. Why am I thinking Stevie Nicks?
I actually was curious. I was like, I assumed that was the pop punk cover band.
No,
I was like,
Stevie Nicks. My bad, man. I am egg on my face. To all the witches out there. But
all the witches out there praying against you right now.
Yeah. Stevie Nicks. But she walks out onto the stage and she has a tambourine, and that thing never goes within a foot of a microphone, and she's playing it the whole show, and you're like, I can't hear you, and like she'll like literally somebody will be soloing and she'll just like walk, she'll do the thing where she'll like give room to the soloist, but she'll still be playing the tambourine just like over in the corner, and you're like,
sometimes
what?
you just need something to do with your hands.
Yeah,
it's
true.
like the
Exactly.
empty
That's true.
drink that you just have because
Yeah.
you can't talk without it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe the more astute viewer could notice this, but every time that there is a transition in conversation, right, instead of feeling awkward that transition is happening, I always go for a drink into my hand.
Yeah.
And I've been known to drink out of empty glasses.
Well, have
right?
you thought about maybe bringing a tambourine on the show?
Ooh, I like that. I think as long as
Put
you
some feathers on it.
yeah.
Okay, I do need to finish the story though because
Yeah,
it does have a twist, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail if I don't finish it.
Exactly.
Yeah, people are on the edge of their seats.
I mean, our fans are ferocious. Well known.
I've noticed this.
Yeah.
Their questions.
They follow you to wherever you are at and attack you on that platform.
Wow.
It's just, they're aggressive. I don't know what to say. Sammy, what's the deal?
Okay, so I was like, oh, that's so weird. It's by Courtney Love. The song's actually kind of good. I told that to a couple other people, including my drum instructor.
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah.
Larry.
Layer.
And he was like, really? Like, he had that same reaction. Like,
He's
oh,
like,
this song's kind of banger, though. Anyway, turns out it's a band called Courtney Love. And everybody I knew in my life was like, oh.
Wow, what kind of a decision is that?
That's embarrassing.
Is that just for Spotify clicks? Like, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
but this would have happened before Spotify clicks, right?
I don't know, actually. But I'm assuming they're from not America, not the U.S. If that's to go back to that American Girl
yes,
Shag line.
Yes.
Because originally I thought she was just sort of jokingly using shag.
Yeah.
In a cute, fun way of like, that's your way of saying it, right? That's not how you say it. And I think when she was singing it, I assumed, I don't know, I was like, is she the most beautiful girl? Like,
Yeah. I don't think that's what she's trying to communicate.
yeah, I know. And also a guy originally sings it.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what I've it's just all about being cute and fun.
Yeah. But anyway, the end. That's the end of the story.
That's a good story.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good
yeah.
story. That's a good story. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Jane, I laughed. I cried. I drank a lot of bourbon while we were talking.
Yeah. Because he didn't know what to say.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, we got Jane O'Connor on the show. Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome,
Hello.
Jane. Yeah.
First guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back for, I guess, this wasn't planned necessarily, but for episode 50.
Yay. Wow, is it 50 episodes?
This is 50 episodes.
Wow. I think based on my watch count, I'd assume there were like 4 or something.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, you and the algorithm.
No, I do actually. So I'll usually get the notification while I'm at work.
Yeah.
I don't know when does it drop?
Thursdays.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice job. And so I'll put it on, but my work involves headphones, and
Yeah.
so I can't really be listening and working. So I spend probably 10 minutes watching, then I do my work, then lunch, and I have a bunch of episodes that I'm probably like a quarter of the way through.
Algorithm counts it. 10 minutes in.
Honestly, thank you.
Yeah. If more people did that, we would be in a much better place.
So I am paying attention, but the nature of my
Listen, Jane, we didn't bring you on here to accost you or to try to.
I wasn't
try
sure
to
actually.
shame you.
Shad's text was really threatening.
I did sort of.
Yeah.
I've been sending her very threatening texts the past couple of days.
Yeah. Wow. You guys are laughing, but that sounds really concerning to me personally.
This podcasts aren't admitted.
He's a meet me at.
So.
You can bleep this. No, I'm not going to say
it. What's your name and address?
Yes.
Goodness.
But yeah, thank you for having me back on. I'm glad I didn't fail. When I didn't get asked to come on again, but Brant did. I sort of, I assumed I had done
Well, so
something.
you live in South Bend.
Yeah.
And he lives in
Bleep
Illinois, but yeah, bleep that. You live in...
Cut that.
You live in Silver Springs, Maryland.
The fans are ferocious.
It's true.
We've talked
That's
about
true.
this.
We've talked about this.
They'll dox you, dude. It's just well done.
They'll just walk around South Bend.
I'm also just
Looking.
embarrassed of where I live.
Really?
No, I'm not. I've actually really grown to like it,
Grown to love South Bend.
Yeah.
It's
It's a dirty bend.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a big parking lot.
Is that your take? Are we
That's
going to have
kinda
another fight?
Yeah.
Guys, come
know.
on. What did I say before we started?
Well, when you live in the Pacific Northwest, there's this thing called elevation that exists. And so when you go and you see a large metropolitan area in the Midwestern town, you just feel like this is just one big slab of concrete where we put some buildings in it.
I mean, you could say that about where you live.
That's true.
Right now.
Yeah. I live in a smaller parking lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing. South Bend is a city. So it's a little more, if you're a parking lot, it's a little more embarrassing, I think.
Yeah.
Truly got to pretend it's a city in many ways.
Yeah.
No, but I've actually really, really grown to like it. And I don't know. I think it's a right size city for me and my
Good.
aspirations.
You delusions.
I'm not a New York person.
Yeah.
New York, there's too much. There's too much success out there.
Yeah, exactly.
There's too much going
I don't
for
want to
you.
attain
I wish to
those
languish.
heights.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Midwestern United States heights. That's the peak I'm going for.
Yes. But Brant, I think at this point it's kind of a running joke that we have him on the show because Lord knows, and he won't hear this. He's sort of running out of things to say. But it's kind of fun to have him on just to force him to kind of keep trying to talk. I don't know.
No, and I wasn't actually insulted. I also had that fun of like, Brant again. What's he gonna talk about?
Who knows? You roll
Who
the
knows?
dice.
And also, I don't know because I didn't finish.
He didn't get to the point of the show
I didn't
where
get
we
to what he
asked him
actually talks
What he
about.
talks about.
I was kind of hearing he was talking about exercising in the beginning of the second one.
Yeah.
Right? I kind of
No, the second one's about his love life.
I thought the
Yes.
first one was about his love life.
No,
the
Brant was him addressing. The first one was him addressing the allegations.
Yeah. I remember now.
Yes.
And then
You gotta get
That
caught
one
up
I
on
was
the
jealous.
lore.
That one I was jealous of the title.
It is
Yeah.
a good one.
I was like,
That is
wow,
a
I
good
need
one.
more allegations
Yeah.
against me.
I mean, how about this? How about we do Jane O'Connor addresses her
responds to
allegations.
Brant.
There you go. Responds to the Brant allegations.
He responds to the Brant allegations. Actually,
responds to the allegations.
I didn't give you a full tour of the office. There's two buildings in there. There are two rooms over there. There are two people who you have slighted in the past.
Oh no.
One of which when you were in 5th grade. And the other 2 days ago, and
Wow.
we're gonna have them come in a little bit later, and they'll tell you,
I hope we've can bury the hatchet on this 5th grade.
Yeah.
Like I know I was.
That's the hardest beat
Yeah.
to bury right there.
It was a rough time. I was.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows this, but I was in a really tough spot.
Yeah.
I mean, weren't we all? I mean,
I just moved out of 4th grade.
which is a lot of responsibility.
yes. And you still had a 4th grade graduation.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
You
yeah,
went to the 4th
exactly.
grade graduation, and your parents were like, "Why the hell are we here?"
Yeah.
And then when you're in 5th grade, there's all these expectations because you're
Yeah.
like,
9/11 happened a decade ago.
It was-
you're
yeah.
still feeling you're still rolling from that.
yeah, I didn't. I felt like our nation hadn't recovered fully,
Yeah.
and I felt as a
Yeah.
5th grader that
Yeah.
it was my responsibility.
Were you in America at that point?
I was actually.
okay.
So
What
I
are you
don't know.
trying to say about Jade, Shad? What are you trying to
Where were you? September 11th.
I'm not saying on September 11th. I said in 5th grade.
No, so September 11th happened.
Yeah.
And then October, we hop on a plane. One of those things.
Wow.
And
nice.
fly out of the United States because we're like, enough of this.
Yeah.
That was one 9/11 too many for our family.
Burlington, one of the safest places in the world.
No, I remember.
Southeast Asia.
I don't remember. Obviously, don't remember 9/11.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at me. But all I know is like my dad's story. Like,
It's just like a weird thing, but the fact that you said "look at me" it makes me think that like women don't remember 9/11. Look at me. Do you think I remember 9/11?
I think I recall tragic national events. Think again.
Look at me.
No, I meant how like
People with brown hair.
I meant my ambiguous race.
Yeah.
No, what was I? Oh yeah, my dad was like, yeah, we were going to put on Bob the Builder for you on the TV.
Yeah.
And we turned it on, and I was like,
You're like,
ooh,
this
can
is-
you fix this?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think so.
No, he can't. You hit the. I was literally like, if you didn't do it, I was gonna do it.
The other joke was the exact opposite of Bob the Building happening there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all my 9/11 material. I don't.
We exhausted it so fast.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, Jane.
That's my snail mail, my 9/11.
Yeah.
You were talking about subjects that are frequently reiterated on this podcast. We actually talk about
9/11
how
oddly.
people have remembered 9/11 a lot more often than you might imagine.
Yeah.
Well, also, I've been thinking a lot about 9/11. Is that's it?
Period. Done.
No, I think being on Twitter and seeing how Gen Z jokes about 9/11
Yeah.
has been really interesting because there was a period, I don't know, I think it was 6 months ago maybe, where the a second blank has hit the blank was like a really popular meme
Yes.
format. And it was kind of insane to think about.
Well, so I mean, I think it was our generation who kind of kicked that off. I mean, I remember making
Always taking the credit.
Yeah, come on, Shad. Yeah, okay,
Look
you
at
make
him.
fun of 9/11. You're
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, well, I feel like the Zillennials or the guy people like with the early internet, like memeage back in like 2012 and 13.
Yeah, the 9gag era.
The 9gag era, Rage comics, etc. I mean, people were making 9/11 jokes back then. So, I mean, nowadays though, it's just so detached that it has entered an entirely different form of irony. Now, there was like a shock value that used to exist. I don't even think there's a shock value anymore.
Yeah, I thought about this as well. I was like, well, I remember when I was in elementary school, people would like the boys on the playground.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the. I almost didn't remember what the 5th grade
Drama was.
drama
Yeah,
was, but I'm starting to recall. Would tell really like dark, edgy jokes about 9/11. You know, like the one about the fastest readers. And, those classics. And it was sort of really taboo. But I think you're right. We've entered into this. These people weren't even born when 9/11 happened. It really is just this thing that they hear so much about growing up. So now it's funny to kind of riff on.
I think, especially since just kind of how like abject failure and like just we view the Iraq War very disfavorably. And so it's not even like this belief that kind of what happened afterwards really was of any positive consequence.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this is just,
Yeah.
people died. Very sad, but
Yeah, I think it's
to
just
people-
making sense of senselessness,
Yeah.
right? Or attempting to.
But it was sort of
Yeah.
surprising because I think I'm definitely, I mean, everyone always says this about any generation, but I was born before, but don't recall. I'm definitely part of that generation that's, making a lot of these jokes. And it was just a weird moment of reflection,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, truly, we will never forget.
yeah. And well, good. Actually, I thought that you said that you can't remember. Yeah. I thought you're something about you precludes you. So like, I'm wearing a flannel. Come on.
Look at me.
Yeah.
You wanna remember?
9/11?
So this reminds me, because people say that comedy is tragedy plus time, right? Like that's a classic quote. I don't even know.
I think that's fake, but
yeah, you think it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not anathema. What's
anachronistic.
anachronistic?
Well,
yeah.
so here's the thing, man. If it's comedy plus time,
tragedy plus
tragedy plus time. All right.
What about the Gaelic War?
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'm just
the
like
Gallic
rocking up
Wars.
with my
Whoopsie.
Gallic Wars. You walking
Don't
up with
cut that.
Yeah. Keep all of Shad's mistakes. Cut all of Jay's mistakes.
Pompeii.
Yeah, Pompeii or the Library of Alexandria.
Those
whatever.
are all you could make jokes about it are all funny and nobody would care. Nobody would give a rat's behind.
Well, so but you could make the like if comedy is that,
then
that
it
means
should
that
be objectively
it's-
funny just
if
looking
that's an
at it.
equation,
Yeah.
then those things should,
You just say it. You're like, Genghis Khan.
Yeah, it was like, she went there.
No, Genghis can't.
Whoa, man, so clever. Woo, go girl. No, I mean, so why I was sort of bringing it up is we had a show come through the college. I think it's the American History Abridged.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a classic comedy.
Was that recently?
It was like our sophomore,
It's when we were
my
students.
sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
I don't
or
remember that.
freshman.
Yeah.
Look at me.
She can't remember a damn thing.
Yeah, not even 5 minutes ago.
I'm wearing a shirt that says like I have amnesia.
She, her and a goldfish go toe to toe.
Yeah.
Okay, so the show American
Anyway,
History.
so
Yeah,
American
yeah.
History Abridged, they do like Shakespeare Abridged. It's like a 4-man quick change kind of comedy show.
Comedy routine, yeah.
And I distinctly remember that they had a Lincoln assassination joke, right? Where they had this, they had a guy with a balloon, like his head was in a shirt, a balloon up top, and then a guy with a gun shooting the balloon, and the balloon explodes, right? And the entire audience gasping when this happens. And then literally the performer like looked at everybody and was like, "Are you guys kidding me? What you got? They were also like they made a joke about how famous women in American history, and they like listed 2, and then they listed a scientist character from Deep Impact, who was a woman. And then like everybody laughed, and they were like, "You guys have weird priorities. Usually people don't laugh at that one." And so they were
you guys
they were judging
sexist as hell.
exactly. They were judging the audience there, but they were like, you gasp at the Lincoln assassination, but
What are your thoughts on judging going against the audience, insulting the audience?
I think that in particular circumstances it makes sense. I mean, they made a joke about the Flint water crisis, which I thought was hilarious, and I mean it was only like 6 months. But like that's 6 months, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean,
plus 6 months. Flint water crisis plus 6 months
Yeah,
equals.
Question mark?
But I think that in certain circumstances, it works from a comedic perspective. But I think it's for the comedians. Like it's it's that classic like playing to the back of the room kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Where it's like full acknowledgement of like, isn't this crazy? What's going on? Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy. For my own sense of legitimacy, I'm going to sort of go against you and do my own thing.
Because it seems like that's what they always teach you. They
Yeah.
are always telling you that
She doesn't remember who they are, of course.
you shouldn't insult the audience.
Yes.
And like the exceptions being like Bill Burr in Philly.
Yeah.
That's it.
the classic bit.
The classic.
Bill Burr, the he thought it would end his career moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's kind of funny. The funny thing about going against the audience or saying things that is going to rile up your audience is it creates this weird conflict. I remember, I think it was Sarah Silverman, or maybe it was somebody else. There was this comedian who had a special come out on Netflix, and everybody was making fun of it because there's a portion where they say something, and it was a female comedian. I don't remember exactly what the bit was.
But famous American
Look at him.
women.
He doesn't remember women.
Women can't remember, and I can't remember women. But I mean, this was years ago, and it was on Twitter, so details are fuzzy. But they said something, and then the audience laughed, and then they carried on like the audience had booed them. Right? They were like, "Oh, I'm right," right? And then they kind of went into the bit. And the thing was, is that if that person was at a club, at the Comedy Store, or at the Cellar, or they were, at a Magooby somewhere, or something, then the audience would have been like, "What?" But when you're recording a special, everybody in the audience is your
like
people,
there to
is there to laugh at you, and so, rehearsal wise, they had totally prepped for everybody being like, "What are you talking about?" and then doubling down to try and antagonize them.
Maybe that's what those guys were preparing for. They thought you guys were going to be like, oh, and then you laughed, and they were like, oh.
And we make fun of you.
Yeah, exactly. exactly. Turn it around.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever. I think audience interaction scares me. There's too many variables.
Yeah. I mean,
if I were doing stand up, it would be. It's like, this is why I'm not doing improv. Okay, I don't want any variables. With zero variables.
Well, I was talking to Joe Papalardo the other day, and he was telling me, because he's a jokes guy, but he was like, you can't make it in this city. Everybody wants to do crowd work. DC is a crowd work town, so it's like, he's like, you'll write jokes, and people they'll always find a reason to hate you
and say something, and then you got to respond.
Yeah. Well, no, not to
Oh, okay.
Not like be aggressive back at you or anything along those lines, but they'll always not take your jokes.
Yeah.
They don't give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
they want something extra. They want that X factor.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about crowd work is just as canned as jokes.
Yeah.
More often than not, because it's like, when you ask somebody in the audience, like, hey, tell me about the last time you had sex, right? There's like 5 things the person can say, right?
Yeah.
And so then you have a bit for all of them. It's just a joke, but there's this added level of audience interaction.
It's perceived spontaneity.
Yeah.
Right?
Anybody here grow up Catholic? Tell me about that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I got 5 bits related to this, right?
It's
just the same stuff over and over again.
And this is, I can't even, this scares me with phone calls when things veer off, and I have this really bad thing where if I don't prepare enough for a phone call, I just start talking a little too much about my life. I'm like, hey, my name's
the Comcast person.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, my name's Jane. I'm calling about O'Connor, by the way, and I'm so I was just in this accident, and I was told that just on, and then I realized I just had to say 3 words, and they
Exactly.
direct me to the right thing.
I was trying to think. For me, what I like about improvisational stuff is that there is no additional pressure going into it that you have prepared anything, right? So I would say with improvised comedy, people give you the benefit of doubt a lot more than they do in a stand-up situation. And so, they understand sort of what's going on there. And so I actually feel less pressure because at the end of the day, I didn't come in with all this stuff, and it's just raw what's happening.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't work out, then what do you do?
That's true. I guess maybe that's what makes it so scary about stand-up. It's I would lose. Me versus a heckler. I'd be,
You'd be like, yeah, you're making some good points.
Great points here. You want to get up here? And not in that annoying way where the teacher's like, do you want to teach this class?
Yeah.
I'd just actually be like,
there's all this classic YouTube footage of comedians being like, all right, you get up here and tell a joke.
I would be sincere.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're right, sir.
Yes.
I do have a weird face.
Yeah. You're correct.
You're correct. I did say that last line a little weirdly. Did you notice that?
Correct. You did just repeat the last word I said.
Yeah.
You're right.
I did say that. So anyway, I think last time we talked about my whole improv thing, so I won't get into that.
Well, I think what time? How long have we been going? We got to get to your monomaniacal session.
Yeah, we gotta move on to the thing.
It was 9/11. No, it wasn't.
I've been thinking a lot about 9/11. Yeah, I mean, ostensibly the show's about something, and it's about what you're into right now, your monomaniacal obsession, right? In the recent couple of weeks, even the last half of your life, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But what's really been occupying your mind space? So, Jane O'Connor, what is your monomaniacal obsession?
Okay, first, this actually has, I don't know if I should set this up, but this has been a week long, so pretty short.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty short.
That's what
Which is good. We like
it
fresh.
Yeah, and these are not fresh, let me tell you. I'm here to talk about Pringles. Those,
I have so much to say about Pringles, dude. I got so much to say. I'm excited. All right, cool. All right.
This all started because they brought some Pringles into the work snack table after me begging for them to bring chips of some kind.
Yeah.
Because they were just bringing a lot of these breakfast bars
Dude,
gummies.
You can only have so many breakfast bars.
Yeah. And I really want something salty. So
Yeah.
they bring in these Pringles.
Yeah. You get your hand stuck.
Newfangled potato chips, as they were originally gonna be. Well, they are called Pringles newfangled potato chip. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, I didn't know about the subscript.
Yeah.
There.
But I went down this deep dive and I realized there's a lot more to Pringles than you might think. Than meets the eye.
It meets the eye. Okay. All right.
Yeah. The eye meets a hyperbolic paraboloid shaped chip, and you think you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You're like, these just stack on top of each other. I see these all the time. No, you don't.
All right,
So-
Jane. So what sort of So that kicked it off.
Yeah.
But like
the hyperbolic paraboloid did kick it off for me. I was like, wow, interesting. And if you click on the Wikipedia link for hyperbolic paraboloid, it takes you to this subsection of mathematical shapes. And one of the examples the only example they give is a Pringle chip. They are not.
So did this factor into the development of the Pringle?
Well, okay, this is interesting. I'm not sure. Like they discovered hyperbolic paraboloids and they were like, I want to eat this. I want to, whatever this is, I want it in my mouth.
The texture is going to be great.
Well, they had this organic chemist working on it originally, and he nailed down the shape. He got the little tube. He was like, this is going to go great, and just couldn't get it to taste good. So Procter and Gamble took him off the project. They're like, you're out of here.
Procter and Gamble?
Yeah,
dude.
Procter and Gamble originally launched Pringles 1968 in Indiana. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
The great
Some
state.
pride
The great state, home of South Bend.
Yeah.
Home of Jane.
Yeah, the only major city in all of Indiana.
And Kellogg's bought them out in 2012.
Okay.
Tragic.
It's incredibly.
And so they took him off the project. They brought somebody else on. I don't remember the name, as we've established.
You don't even remember the name of the first guy. So
And
honestly, do not trust anything that Jade is saying.
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows?
And so they took him off the project, and they finally got them to taste good, and so they put them to market. 1968, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
But they were nationwide by the mid 70s. So
because people were just could not get enough.
of the hyperbolic paraboloid.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a weird contrast here, in my opinion, because they're supposed to be the most efficient stackable chip, right? But they're stored in one of the least efficient containers possible, right? It's like, not only is it hard to
It's a
get at them.
walking contradiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard to store them, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why the Japanese have been growing watermelons as cubes, right? Because they're stackable, but like tubes,
It's
not
definitely
easy.
it's definitely a thing that once it just became attached to the brand. And back in the
for sure.
70s, they didn't know. They just wanted their chips. They just wanted the delicious potato crisps. Sorry.
Back when
So
the
they're
tube was like a sci-fi shape.
Yeah. So Jane, they're not actually.
They're not
chips.
actually chips. I know. I've been saying that just for your sake.
Yeah.
For the audience's sake, because I don't want to jar them.
Yeah.
But Pringles are not legally allowed to be called chips.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of reasons why, but the way they're cooked is actually they're baked out of a potato-based dough that is 1 part water, 2 parts potato powder.
Yeah.
And mixed a little starch in. And then
Just for flavor.
yeah, so it's just like a dough that they make, and then they pound it into this massive potato sheet. The biggest potato sheet you've ever seen.
In all of your life.
And then they bake those and fry those. And
So what would you categorize them as then, if they're not chips?
so technically they worked a lot with trying to figure out a name, and they ended up with this really long, convoluted name that just didn't work. So they were like, we're just going to call them crisps. So they're called crisps. If you look at the container, it says potato crisps.
Yeah, okay.
And this you could check. You could fact check me on that.
Yeah, you could go to the Walmart right now and fact check her on that one.
And this is funny for our international folks, because I don't know if you know this, but chips are called crisps.
It's true.
In the UK.
In the UK.
And so
whatever British listeners we have are just rolling on the floor.
I know.
They're laughing out.
Well, it's funny because in the 2000s at some point, so crisps have a value added tax on them in the UK, and Pringles was trying to get out of that. Classic corporate fashion.
Yeah.
Classic Pringles.
Classic Procter and Gamble.
Does a Pringle guy have a name?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Mr. Pringle. I don't
Mr.
know.
Pringle? I think it might actually be Mr. Pringle.
Yeah, I don't know
but
what
he
his-
kind of looks like Mr. Monopoly.
Josh,
Yeah.
could you look up if Mr. Pringle has a name?
And
Pringle
we
mascot.
need someone to scapegoat,
Yeah.
to yell at, to hurl our insults. And okay, so they're doing their slimy corporate thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny actually. So they are they're trying to say that Pringles are not legally crisps now. The thing that they'd worked so hard to call them. And they managed to win the case. And part of their argument, it's really funny. They were like, because technically potato content is only 42% in Pringles, and
That's less than the majority.
and the shape is, quote, not found in nature, end quote.
These are non-Euclidean.
Yeah. So as part of that was like part of their winning argument for why they shouldn't have this tax applied to them.
That's awesome.
So what's the name of this guy?
Okay, his name is Julius Pringles.
Julius Pringles.
Wow.
That only originated because of a hoax,
A hoax, okay.
in which some fans made up the name, and then it was
Okay,
eventually
so
adopted.
fans made up the name, and then eventually they were like, his name is Julius.
They couldn't come up with anything like, I don't know, more relevant, or I
Yeah.
don't know. What was going on at the time? What's relevant?
Yeah, let's talk about
Woodstock,
tragedy
I don't know.
plus tragedy plus time. Julius, it's acceptable to name your
Well,
kid Julius.
I think what's also funny is it's sort of like, it seems like the tube shape. It was just something that they were
Yeah.
like, well, I guess this is it forever now. Because what
Well,
else?
they just their new marketing campaign with the people who get their hands stuck in it forever or whatever. It's like it's a big part of the identity.
Yeah.
So I mean, I obviously we all know as seasoned Pringles eaters, the correct method is the turn the Pringles
At the
tube
end,
towards
yes.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So the big question I have then is, what makes the Pringle unique in comparison to the Lay's stack?
I'm so glad you brought this up, Chad.
I have been waiting this whole time
So,
for you
yeah.
to ask.
So Lay's obviously released their Lay's stacks
Yeah.
as a direct competitor to Pringles.
The audacity.
They knew what they were doing.
Yes.
Or at least Wikipedia did.
Yeah.
And so Lay's stacks, I don't know if you noticed this. It's like kind of underwhelming after eating a lot of Pringles, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Their shape is technically a hyperbolic cylinder. So whereas the Pringle...
Is it because they're
the Pringle
so
has a double
curved?
curve.
Okay.
So it has a double curve. It's curved this way and this
Oh
way.
yeah. It does kind of have like
So there's technically
wave.
only one center point. And whereas the cylinder, obviously the whole middle part is I'm out of words, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
I
It's more like a
apologize.
taco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how they stack those. And their can obviously is not
Yeah. It's
inspired
it's
by
weird
the-
as hell. Blue
Yeah.
and ridged. I don't know.
fucking weird.
Yeah.
Sorry. And also, I'm also disappointed. I was trying to do research because I was on this Pringles thing way before you guys
Yeah,
approached
Yeah, I
me.
mean,
Yeah.
way before anybody in the audience was.
But when you
honestly.
approached me, I was like, I should probably watch one of those how it's made videos. So I found one
Yeah.
called, How Are Pringles Made? Expecting it to be
Big
about
potato
Pringles.
sheet.
Yeah, big potato sheet. That's where I learned about the big potato sheet, which
Yeah.
could be suspect knowledge because at the end they're putting it on the little cylinders and it's some off-brand
Oh.
like Pringles. They also only do the cylinder shape.
Yeah.
They don't do the hyperbolic paraboloid. That's immediately I knew something was up.
Yeah. Is the hyperbolic paraboloid, like, do they have that in patent? Like, you can't make a chip that's hyperbolic paraboloid?
I bet in terms of like chips, there's something about it.
Well, because you can't find it
Excuse
in
me, it's
nature.
not
You
a
can't
ship.
find it in
It's
nature.
not a ship, guys. Stop referring to it as such.
We're assuming a British audience.
Yeah.
I actually don't. The Wikipedia article doesn't reveal what the new term is
Oh,
for
in
them.
Britain.
Yeah, because
Okay.
chips have their own meaning.
Well, we have to go to
We're gonna have
go to Britain.
Monomaniacs across the pond.
Across the pond, governor.
Can I be on that episode?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, another fun thing is that Lays are called Walkers in the UK.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew this.
Yes.
Friends. Shad knew this.
I do know this. And then in Canada, have you ever gotten an all dressed chip before?
No.
This is a little bit of an offshoot because I think we were talking about the difference between Stacks and Pringles, but we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But there's this type of chip that you can only get in Canada, and briefly they'll, like, every once in a while they'll do a limited run in America, and me and my roommates in DC got some called All Dressed, and it's literally just a proprietary mixture of seasonings that the Canadians are into, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's tangy, it's sweet, it's salty, it's sour, all at the same time. And you're like,
And then
what?
it's just
And you're
like the color brown. you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
It's just,
And it's
ew.
got like I think the bag has like paprika on it. I don't know. But they're delicious. Absolutely
Okay,
delicious.
so they are. I didn't know where this was going.
Yeah, no, they're amazing. Yeah, they're huge in
And his
Canada.
name was Barack Obama.
Yeah. The Canadians, they like only eat these, but they're amazing. Anyway, so the difference. You're
Yeah, so
watching
that's
this video.
That's the big difference.
Yeah.
But also flavoring.
Yes.
Pringles puts the flavoring on the bottom side of the chip,
Ah, yes.
whereas Lay's Stacks puts them on the top curve. It'd be a waste of money to put them all over the chip, really.
Well,
It's
it
just
makes
too
sense.
much.
It makes sense with the Pringle because you put it on your tongue. You go,
Yeah. So,
and you're like, pizza.
yeah.
There's a whole pizza in my mouth.
we have
right now.
pizza flavor.
Okay, so
But
go-
sorry, what was your question?
My-
I'm here for questions.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is question time.
Yeah.
to me, the ideal method in which to eat Pringles is the entire container at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
That's
very
that's a
judgmental.
meal right
the
there.
standard sized container or like
a
the little
standard
mini?
ass size container, right?
When you're like, I haven't had dinner yet. You're just
Well,
Yeah,
I
entire
think the
thing.
dough aspect helps with that. I think
Okay,
it
yeah,
gives
yeah.
it a bit of a substance, a carved substance.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
They also they do at least I won't swear. But at least these freaking off-brand flip sticks or whatever they were called in the video are, they blow off the excess oil too. So they do that for you. Because Pringles that was actually one of the original impetuses for the chip was trying to make something less oily. Because Lay's were so
they're super oily,
disgustingly dripping in
honestly
canola
grotesque.
oil.
Yes, exactly. It's just seed oil.
Yeah.
You're inflaming your cells.
Making a bunch of beta
Yeah.
males out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure someone said insidious before, right?
Yeah.
And it's not good enough for me to just try, so I'm gonna.
Okay.
But where was I going with this about the dough base? Oh yeah, that was part of the
eating,
reason.
How much do you eat in a sitting? Right.
Me personally,
I
don't eat Pringles. They're disgusting. No, okay.
Let me know if it's too personal of a question, right? But are you like a one chip at a time thing? I will literally eat 5 Pringles at a time.
I definitely. It's weird. I was never really a Pringles person.
Now you're a Pringles head.
No, Pringles. Now I'm Julius
Julius Pringles. Yeah.
I never really had them, and I did kind of think they were worse than Lay's. And then they brought them in the office, and that kickstarted this whole thing. And I was like, these are so interesting. And I did find myself eating them kind of handfuls at a time.
Yeah.
Stacking them like this, and then eating.
What was with that freaking ad campaign where they took 2 different flavors of Pringles and then would stack them on top of each other?
And then try that. I think that actually seems like a good. I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't recall.
I don't
recall
flavor
these
stacks where you'd be like,
I don't recall that allegation.
You get like a spicy one and a barbecue one, and it's like it's a spicy barbecue Pringle.
That I will say that seems like a good campaign because the shape does lend itself to.
It's true.
Can you eat them?
But honestly, I think this is capitalism gone too far because now you have to buy 2 tubes in order to truly experience Pringles.
But do you really think like if you're a big Pringle head, you're just buying 1 tube?
It's true. It's honestly
this is for the real dedicated Pringle guys out there.
When they sat down for their meeting, when they're like, okay, this is our next ad campaign, target audience, the real Julius Pringles of the world.
I also have noticed with Pringles, at least at my local gas station, that
the Citgo.
Yeah, it's actually a marathon.
I was about to say if I hard guessed that, it would have been you would have suspected something.
That they do offer some interesting flavors. I think if you've gotten tired of the Lay's palette, all of theirs, they are kind of basic. I was at the gas station and I was like, so there's like cheese and there's sour cream and onion and regular. Sorry, you mentioned Japan earlier.
Yeah,
I think. Maybe it's just because growing up overseas, but Japan definitely is at the top of the snack technology game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
when it comes to the variety, forget about it.
And it kind of ruined me because ruined me.
I'm not the same person I was.
Yeah.
Because when I'm craving chips, when I'm craving like I really want this, it's always this very special kind of Japanese Lay's seaweed flavor.
Seaweed flavor.
It's my absolute favorite.
Like umami sort of thing.
Yeah. Just so tasty. If anyone out there lives in Japan and wants to send.
Yeah. Well, now with like neoliberal globalism, you can just order it.
You could.
So I was in San Francisco last week for a conference with my Japanese coworker, and they brought snacks.
Is this relevant? Did you have to mention that?
You have to mention that they were Japanese.
Yeah.
I've got Japanese friends. Yeah. Brought snacks and shared them with the team, and I was going to bring them, but I forgot. I apologize.
What?
Sam,
I know.
I actually had this a lot when I was working in my old job in a marketing office. Wink.
Hey Josh, can you grab me a water bottle while you're in there?
I brought snacks over from Taiwan.
Nice.
And the response was frankly racist. Racist all around.
As in they just didn't like it?
Yeah, they didn't. There was like half-eaten snacks just like thrown away.
Gross.
And like things that were, I think one of them was pineapple cakes. And I brought these really kind of fancy I don't know if you've ever had a pineapple cake. It's a kind of famous Taiwanese dessert.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just because I grew up on it. I think a lot of it just seems foreign.
Wait, is Evan out there right now?
Oh.
Are people talking?
What's going on out there?
What's going on out there? Oh, he arrived.
He's here. Well, how long have you been sitting outside?
I just arrived.
Okay.
Yeah. We're finishing up my Pringles rant.
Yeah, the Pringles episode is finishing up.
You would be talking about Pringles, and I was like, Jane and Pringles.
A winning combination, like a sour cream and onion
Yeah.
and a pizza flavored Pringles.
Yeah,
How much time do we have for left?
15 minutes.
15 minutes?
perfect,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, fast facts.
Fast Pringle fact. Actually, real quick question. Actually, do you have anything from questions? I know we have questions for Evan, but do we have any Jane questions we want to answer? Q&A.
So we'll just roll into this.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh, cool.
What are Jane's favorite famous comedians?
What are Jane's favorite famous comedians?
Oh, okay. This is a good question.
This might be a little basic and controversial. I don't know. Are you guys trying to ruin me again?
Yeah. This is actually supposed to be the ultimate
so
cancel
Trying
Jane
to
episode.
make
Yeah,
me
the nice
responsible
thing
for the
is-
things I say.
The nice thing is that you can always say you've forgotten, right?
Yeah.
And that the audience will believe.
I will say it's been a while since I've really been watching a lot of stand-up, keeping up with a lot of the news, which maybe
Yeah.
will be reflected in these next few names that I throw out there. I am a big Dave Chappelle fan.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Is anything
I haven't heard
anything about him
right
in
now.
the
I don't know if you knew this, but he said some things about transgender.
oh, did he?
Wow. Surprise.
No, I would watch a ton. Well, we just watched a lot of the Chappelle Show growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Probably too young, but
Yes, probably.
some.
Yeah. I was watching it actually the other day, and I forgot that like sometimes his skits will just end with a polemic. Where he'll just be like, all right, skit's over, looks at the camera,
Yeah.
just explains his entire political ideology, and then it's over. You're like, that
Yeah.
wasn't a joke. I mean, it was good, but that wasn't a joke.
I mean, it seems like that's been his latest specials too. Is he's just
Yeah.
sort of talking.
He's supposed to be the elder statesman. You
Yeah.
know? He's like, I've been in this for a long time.
Some of that's, I will say, I respect him and his comedy chops a lot, but some of the other comedians just talking about him all the time always feels a little like, okay, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Or,
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people establish almost their careers off the fact that they have worked with or have met Dave Chappelle, right? Like I know that a lot of because Joe's run into guys in DC who their whole thing is like, I
I've met
opened
Joe.
for Dave Chappelle once.
Yeah.
So, like that's their whole
Yeah.
brand.
Well, it's like being the starting quarterback, you know?
Yeah. I recently, speaking of the Chappelle Show, watched the deleted sketches. So after he, pulled his contract and was like,
You're fine.
and was like, oh,
I haven't taken his shoes off, guys.
you're wondering what's going on behind this.
Yeah.
In a small enclosed space, Evan has taken his shoes off.
Really making it his own.
Yeah.
Being with you again after so many years.
Yeah.
I'm in my own living room. Incredible environment.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
And it was definitely a case of, well, so he was supposed to do slated to do these other seasons,
Yeah,
lost
yeah.
a ton of money, went to Africa, got super jacked, converted to Islam,
Yeah.
married an
Wait, is he still
an
Islamic?
Asian woman,
Yeah,
had
yeah.
some kids, lives in Ohio.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's married to a Filipino Islamic woman as well. So they're just in the middle of Ohio somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also apparently controls the
lives at-
entire local economy.
Yeah.
Like he has so much big boy money, and he lives on a ranch, right? He
Yeah,
lives in
yeah.
this mansion with his family.
Yeah, yeah.
And every time like the city council wants to do something,
yeah,
he'll
yeah.
just show up and be like, "Hi, I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm Dave Chappelle. Don't build
Yeah.
this, low income
Yeah.
housing or something." They're like, yes, okay, yes,
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Bleep this, but he lives at Youngstown, Ohio.
So I think it'd be remiss if we did not
Name some more.
list more people that just.
More
No, I
people
want to talk
than
about Dave
just
Chappelle now.
Yeah. That's an option. You
talking
can do
about
that.
good old
You can do that.
Okay, let me think. It's everyone I'm thinking of has been like canceled.
Yeah.
Like has been seriously like this is not a stand up. This is not a stand up, but I was at one point a really big Conan O'Brien fan.
Yeah.
Really liked everything.
You used to what? I remember you saying you used to stay up until like 3 a.m.
No, I would get up because we lived in, I don't know why, I don't think this was about being overseas, but they would air his show at like 5 a.m. in
nice.
Taiwan. So I would wake up early and I would watch the Conan O'Brien show.
Which, I mean, as a person who's not a Conan O'Brien fan, ouch. That sounds terrible.
I like Conan.
And I loved,
He's
loved
got
his,
great episodes of The Simpsons. I will say
yes.
that.
Monorail.
Yeah.
Monorail Man.
Yeah.
Do we not remember?
Yeah.
And-
Well, sorry, you don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I'm assuming this is something.
Yeah.
No.
I've heard.
And then his the across the border kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those are really good. I've never. It's again, all of these I've really fallen off with keeping up with. So who knows what he's doing? I know he's got a podcast.
Yeah, I've actually listened to some of that.
Okay.
Which is, it's more of Conan has a famous person in a room with him, and he does his bit, and then every once in a while the famous person is like, "Yes, Conan, you are funny," and then we move on to the next bit. Yeah.
And I know. Okay, so you cringed at that one. This one's for Shad to cringe at on my list.
Are you saying I won't? You think this is?
You might as well, but I know
yeah,
Shad.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
Shad's gonna cringe at this one.
Yeah.
I am again in my past. Pretty big, I would say, Bo Burnham fan.
Oh, okay.
As well.
Okay. I mean, I think that,
I can respect. I can respect the man.
He's
I can
clearly super
respect him.
talented.
I can respect him, but I don't find him particularly funny.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if this is because I've been watching his stuff from so early on.
Yeah.
You know that, like when his special came out, Inside, which I think that's when this came up, where you were like, ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
I don't know.
No. But a lot of that special, I think, rests on that how long he's been doing it and how long he's been filming himself on the internet.
I mean, I think he's probably the most high-profile internet comedian turned mainstream, right? To the scale that he's at, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of guys like Drew Gooden, who's been able to make a career out of it, but like to the wide mainstream appeal.
Well, and he
to
did it so
directing
early
films.
on, like when he what he was posting on YouTube was just so early on in YouTube days.
Yeah. Big Vine star.
Yeah. Yeah,
Back
and
when it was so easy, seemingly, only because a handful of people were doing it to become big on those platforms.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to think if there's anyone interesting or underground that I watch.
so
I
are
do-
you
I
saying,
watched
Jay,
a
that
bunch
you are a basic bitch?
Those are all basic. Those are really basic. Let me think. Doug Stanhope.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I did. I got really into Dave Attell for a while.
Okay.
I was watching a lot of Dave Attell.
He's every your favorite comedian's favorite comedian.
Yeah. The comedian's comedian. And I watched. There was like a few of his jokes that I would just like repeat to people like at school because I just thought they were so funny. Like the one about the school bus driver.
I don't even know this one. Can you say it on the show?
Well, now I ruined it.
Yeah.
I thought you knew. I thought you guys knew this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the setup and payoff as bus driver.
Okay.
That was actually the full joke.
Yeah.
That was the whole joke.
It was like Genghis Khan, like bus drivers. No, I'm gonna say it, but now the punchline's been ruined. But he like gets pulled over for drinking and driving, and he's like, "I'm sorry, officer, but these kids got to get to school."
There we go. Okay. All right.
Yeah, damn, he is good. I will say. Funnily enough, actually, we saw the Bert Kreischer special recently.
Yeah.
We went over to the Liebhauser's house when we watched the Bert Kreischer special, and whatever you say about Bert, right? He does know how to do structure, and he does know how to make a joke, right? Regardless if you find it funny, like the guy does have skill, right?
Well, I was actually just talking about this with someone about the story comedians versus the joke comedian, and how much it's made me realize that delivery is more important than material.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of I've watched a lot of specials where comedians will coast on their personality and their engagement with the audience, and I do have to give them props. Like that is a skill.
Well, a lot of the times,
I think that like even a lot of really famous guys would say, "Why isn't Dave Attell the most famous comedian ever?"
Yeah.
Right, and I think it's that exact reason.
his personality's bad.
Yeah.
He's got a bad personality.
Yeah. Well, the delivery is okay there. But if Bert is one that I've never gotten into, but I know there's a lot of infighting about like, is he actually funny? Is it just this one crazy story that he's living off of?
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, I forgot.
Okay, let me think of the most underground guy. No, there is a guy I'm trying to get back into it because I'm like, I need to watch some stand up. The South Bend scene is killing. I gotta. And there's this one guy I found who I've really been enjoying. He's kind of small time. Maybe this is insulting. His name's Jeffrey Asmus, I think, or Asmus.
Okay.
Maybe that's rude to
probably
say
Asmus.
Probably Asmus. I like to say Asmus.
Yeah. Hey, you should do stand up.
And he's pretty fun. I've been watching a lot of his stuff. I think he's coming out with a special, like one of those self-filmed ones.
The Shane Gillis method.
That was the other one. I think I didn't mention Shane Gillis because we've talked about Shane Gillis so much. But I guess he's on that lower tier. If we're gonna rank fame-wise,
Live in Austin is great.
those are some guys.
Those are some guys.
Let me
Wait, no women in that list.
Oh,
Okay.
Wait, I don't know what that's
No,
about.
I will
gals.
say,
women comedian
terms
does
of-
not recommend any women comedians.
As
what
for,
the deal is
I've thought about this a lot. As
Oh.
for female comics or people, comedic women,
yeah.
none of them are stand-ups. I have a lot that I like. Like I am a big
Yeah, yeah.
Tina Fey fan. I love most of like what Tina Fey's done. I think Kristen Wiig is hilarious. Probably, definitely in that top SNL cast members ever.
Yeah.
Going back, throwback to my last episode.
Yeah. SNL. 50 episodes ago.
Yeah. But none of them do stand-up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if I can really recall a female stand-up that I watch pretty consistently. But there's a lot of women, like writers and improv performers, that I think are very talented ladies out there.
That was a very, very long sort of backpedal copium, but it's fine. It's okay.
Well, it's weird. I think because it's been so long, when you mentioned that, I was like, oh wow, I know there's some people that I usually list, but
Yeah.
I can't think right now.
It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. We've all had a long week.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
all had a long week.
As
Half
we
this
mentioned.
episode is about how Jane can't remember
Yeah.
things. The other's about how everybody had a long week. I don't know. I think we're about at time, but
Yeah.
thanks everybody for listening. Thanks,
Yes.
Jane, for coming on
Yeah,
the show.
thanks for having me on the show.
And if you're interested in supporting the show, you can visit our Patreon by searching the name of this podcast on Patreon.
Yes.
And honestly, I'm starting to wonder whether or not we just stop listing the benefits, and if people are really interested, they'll go to the website. To
Probably.
Look at it. I think that's probably.
I don't think I
the best.
listen to a single podcast where they tell you what you get when you're on Patreon. One thing you do get, though, is the after show. And we're probably going to record another full episode before we go to the after show. Who knows? It depends on what we do here.
Yeah, I
might
kind of
have
crashed in as a guest.
Yeah.
which-
might have
thank
an
you to the
interesting,
boys.
interesting setup here. So
Yeah, but thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back.
Peace.